Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and lock your doors. You have entered the world of the unknown. Welcome to the Dead Hour broadcast. Elias Thorne lived in a house that was technically still breathing. Its beams groaned, the floorboards sighed, and the wind, trapped in the eaves, whistled melodies that sounded suspiciously like names. But the sound that truly defined his existence was the silence. A silence so profound, so absolute, it felt less like an absence of sound and more like a dense, suffocating presence. Elias had inherited the house, known locally as the Empty, from a great aunt he'd never met, a woman who, legend claimed, spent her final decades conversing with the wallpaper. He, a meticulous historian of forgotten folklore, saw not madness, but an intriguing subject. He arrived with one goal: to prove that the house's reputation was merely local hysteria, fueled by isolation. His first week was dedicated to documentation. He installed sensitive microphones in every room, hoping to capture the rumored whispers. The mics recorded nothing but the mechanical click of their own operation and the distant buzz of the electrical wires. Yet, the feeling persisted. It began subtly, like the residual warmth of a hand that had just touched his shoulder. One night, while reviewing the soundless logs, he found an anomaly. In the recording from the upstairs nursery, a room sealed since the 1920s, there was a single, sharp spike on the decibel meter, lasting less than a millisecond. When he amplified the sound, it was indecipherable. A crunch, a breath, a word swallowed before it could be born. The next day, Elias ventured into the nursery. The room was draped in white sheets, the air thick and cold. Beneath a dust-caked rocking horse, he noticed the faint outline of a small antique music box. It was a beautiful thing, carved with figures frozen mid-dance. It had no winding key. He took it downstairs, placing it on his desk beside his recording equipment. That night, the silence returned, heavier than before. Elias lay in bed, unable to sleep, convinced he could hear his own heartbeat through the 3 layers of the ceiling. At 3:07 a.m., the music box played. It wasn't a sweet, tinkling melody. It was slow, off-key, and excruciatingly loud. Elias shot out of bed. The sound was coming from his desk, a haunting, mechanical rendition of a lullaby. He rushed into the study. The music box was open. It was playing, but the little spinning dancers were completely still. They were locked in position, yet the sound was roaring from the box itself. He slammed the lid shut. The music stopped instantly. Trembling, Elias turned to the recording equipment. The mic in the study had captured the whole thing. He rewound and played it back. The sound of the lullaby was perfect, but layered underneath it, closer, more immediate, was the sound of something else, something heavy and slow being dragged across the wooden floor. His wooden floor. He looked down. A perfect crescent-shaped scratch, fresh and splintered, ran from the music box across the floor toward the doorway. Fear, cold and sharp, replaced his academic curiosity. He realized that the silence wasn't empty, it was a blanket. The house wasn't breathing, it was holding its breath, and whatever was hiding under that silence was slowly collecting the sounds it enjoyed. He decided to leave at dawn. The next morning, the music box was gone. In its place, however, was a child's worn leather-bound diary. He hesitated, then opened it. It was dated 1924, written in a child's looping script. She told me not to talk, not to sing. The walls listen, she said, but my voice is all I have. I hide my songs in the box. He likes my songs. When I sing, he moves faster. The last page was different.
It was written in thick, messy black crayon. "I'm silent now, like the walls. He took the music. Now he's coming for the echo." Elias felt his throat tighten. The microphone in the study was blinking rapidly. When he checked the monitor, the decibel meter was maxed out, but the accompanying waveform was a perfectly flat line. He hadn't captured a sound. He had captured the absolute absence of one. Suddenly, a sound broke the oppressive silence, the faint, far-off click of the upstairs nursery door latch. Elias froze. He knew the house was collecting things. First the whispers, then the lullaby, then the child's voice. And the very last thing it wanted, the thing that created the looming silence he had documented, was the human scream. He made a run for the front door. His foot slid on the rug. He looked down and saw the scratch mark from the night before. It was much longer now, extending to the doorframe, like a trail left by something being dragged. As his hand reached the brass doorknob, the house let out a sound it had been holding for a century, a deep, shuddering, satisfied sigh. The sound recording equipment on his desk flashed. It wasn't flatlining anymore. It was playing back a single, piercing, perfectly preserved sound. It was Elias's own scream from the night he had been born, recorded not by his equipment, but by the walls themselves. Then the final permanent silence descended. The house had what it wanted. Elias Thorne, the meticulous historian, had become its last, finest echo.
The story ends here, but the fear remains. If you want to survive the night, hit that subscribe button. And remember, don't look under your bed tonight.